right, welcome back to Sunrise City. Well, at the moment, we understand that Phyllis coming through is saying that the governor of Rivers State is about to swear in what they say are newly screened chairman and members of the Caretaker committee in 23 local government areas of Rivers State. There are footage coming through saying that some of them have been screened. They were in Government House this morning, and this is coming in consideration of all that is playing out this morning in Rivers State, as you have seen in that report, which we did highlight. Some unfortunate incidents, some lives have been lost as a result of the fracas going on yesterday up until this morning. So we're just keeping tabs on developments in the state, and we'll bring them to you as we get them. So at the moment, we've got two gentlemen who will be joining us to just give us the quick take this morning on the developments and implications of what is going on. Shugbaye Eli is a lawyer. He was elected chairman of Degama Local Government Council in Rivers State in 2015. We're also going to have joining us this morning Mr. Wari, who is also a legal practitioner. They will both be joining us from Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. Mr. Eli, let me start with you. Very, very concerning, the developments playing out in Rivers State at the moment. But we've heard some of the narratives coming through from the governor. We've also seen youths hitting the streets. But notwithstanding the developments coming through from Rivers State Government House this morning, saying that the governor is swearing in some Caretaker committee chairman, how does that play out in considering what the police said yesterday, that they have taken over the local government secretariat to forestall breakdown of law and order? Because some will think with that action from the police, everyone is supposed to just stay clear until all calms down. But with that swearing in, it looks as if that may not happen.
Chamberlain, if you can hear me, hold back.
The police are taking over and then the swearing in happening. Are they supposed to resume after the swearing in or what?
Well, the police will take over only to restore sanity and law and order. Once the Caretaker committee is screened and they're inaugurated by the governor, they move into the council. SASA is done. I'm not sure the police will prevent them, except there's another cause.
A good thing you're a lawyer, but the police CP also told us 2 days ago that the court of appeal has said everybody stay action until we decide on the matter today. So isn't this destroying what they are referred to as the rest in this matter?
Please, Chamberlain, let's be very focused on the issues as the media. You have a role to play as a other than the Constitution. The CP, with respect to him, misinterpreted what the Appeal Court meant by status quo, present status quo, in that matter that came before them and adjourned to tomorrow, Thursday, 20th. You need to understand that the party that appealed on that interlocutory appeal to the Appeal Court was Amaehwule and others against Okojumbo, the Speaker. Now, if the court says maintain status quo, it means maintain status quo where you are on the issues that brought to the court. I know the court said if they determine the issues on the appeal, the relief sought by the appellants, it could abort, it could be a preemptive strike, it could prematurely terminate the matter before the High Court. The court that the High Court had not given a final judgment on this. It was first an interim injunction that was granted by a motionless party, brought by Okojumbo and others. And then it was now upgraded at the next adjournment to interlocutory injunction, which was also taken that day. And before the court adjourned to 20th, with the caveat to parties to maintain the present.
I'm sorry, I lost you. I can't hear. I can't make out what you're saying. What you're saying. Okay, so we lost him there. But yes, indeed, we'll put across all questions from all angles. Everyone may have said a thing or two, and so they're all relevant. Okay, pardon me, we lost you there. You were talking about the court saying maintain status quo, which applies to all parties. Was that your point?
When the court says maintain status quo, the court is not saying that you should not do what you are doing ordinarily in business of government. On the issues I brought to the court, and the court was specific. If you look at the reliefs sought by the appellants, the court granted reliefs 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 or so. And then others 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 were not granted. You may wish you had averted attention to those reliefs. So those ones that are not granted are the ones you maintain status quo on. Right? Others are good to go. They didn't say because status quo was maintained, so governance must stop. That's not the issue. In any event, the issue of local government councils was not before the appeal courts. That's not what Amaehwule brought to the courts. So how that affects the appointment of Caretaker committees is a far-fetched argument, with respect.
Okay, now there are questions about the extension of the tenure of the local government chairman, because according to them, there is a law made by the House of Assembly that supports the extension of the tenure of local government chairmen. Has there been any challenge to that particular law?
Thanks for that wonderful question. First thing first, the attempt to elongate the tenure of the immediate past council chairman was made by Amaehwule and others. That was subject of a judicial decision in the case brought by one of those outgone chairmen, and Claude Wilcox of Bonny, for judicial interpretation of their tenure before my Lord the Honorable Justice Dagetima Gabriel Kyo of the High Court of Rivers State. My Lord, in his wisdom, nullified that 10 allegation via Rivers State Local Government Law number 2 of 2024 and expunged it from the laws of Rivers State of Nigeria. As far as the law is concerned, that's where we are. So that elongation did not, as a speaker, does not apply and cannot apply, because until appeal court sits on it and says anything otherwise, that is the law. So no assembly could have enacted a law and then the law is cast in granite and can be tampered with by the judiciary. Under the Constitution, the judiciary is empowered to interpret laws. And my Lord in his wisdom struck down that law and expunged it on laws of the rest of Nigeria. So nobody can stand on that law to claim that the tenure was elongated.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Are you saying that the recent law, because this seems to be something that was done recently, has now been expunged? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, my Lord, the Honorable Justice Dagetima Gabriel Kyo of the High Court of Rivers State, ruling in the case brought by the former chairman of Opobonkoro, that's Enyeda Kukigam, and again Claude Wilcox of Bonny, to interpret their own tenure. The matter was brought via an originating summons, and my Lord, in interpreting their tenure, struck down that amendment of the Rivers State Local Government Law by Amaehwule and others. And did not only strike it down, he said it was inconsistent with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and expunged it from the laws of Rivers State of Nigeria. That is where we are at the moment. So that law, that extension doesn't exist.
That is interesting, because that's what the other local government chairmen seem to be standing on. That's what they are relying upon to continue to insist on the tenure elongation. Are they aware that that has been expunged, or is this something that happened in secret?
No, but the High Court sits in the open, and this matter was reported extensively last week. I'm sure you know that your medium is one of those very advanced media in Nigeria. I'm not saying that to patronize you. We have a correspondent in Port Harcourt, I think Charles, I don't know, I can't remember his name now. Judicial correspondents were there. So that was even before the tenure ended on the 17th. He struck it down. He struck down that allegation and cited the case of Attorney General, among the authorities he cited Attorney General of the Federation against Attorney General Labia and 35 others in the Supreme Court decision in 2001, prohibiting tenure elongation for local government chairmen at that time. So in interpreting that law, he said it was inconsistent with the Constitution, and he struck it down. I'm not aware of any appeal filed by them to challenge it at the moment. So nobody can rely on what Amaehwule filed an appeal challenging Okojumbo over House of Assembly on that issue. We're not debating the issue of their defection even. So when the matter comes to a court, the court deals with the issues before it. So I'm aware that Justice Kyo did not forage into determining whether or not they have a locus to amend the law, given their defection. He didn't go there because it was not before him. It was a question interpreting the law they purportedly amended to a tenure for essentially the tenure of local government chairmen who are now governed by law. That's what happened.
Okay, well, as things stand today, with the position of the police and then the threatening going on now, and some of those who seem to be fomenting trouble, what is the correct position of things? How should things play out that will subscribe to the rule of law?
Well, Chamberlain, the portion of law is simple and is not subject to personal interpretation. As I said, the Commissioner of Police, if what you had him say is seems to go by, a lot of people got this maintenance pedestal school team very wrong. Maybe they should just let a gunpowder and wait for the appeal court to see tomorrow. Then they can raise that issue again and see what the appeal court will say. But I know the way the law works is you look at the relief sought by the party, what reliefs were granted by the appeal court, what reliefs are not granted. For instance, it sought for another of the appeal court that was stopped completely. Completely. The order of the High Court of Rested upon which Okojumbo and others were working as Speaker and members of the Assembly. They also sought for another of the court to deem as if they aborted all of nullifying all the actions, including the screening of Attorney General and other commissioners. The court did not go there because going there will amount to determining the issues before the High Court. Prematurely, the court made that pronouncement very clear and declined all those reliefs 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. So nothing stops. Status quo does not mean that the local government system cannot run because, and like I said, the matter before the appeal court is not about local governments.
Okay.
It's about assembly. So the two don't go together.
All right, let's bring in Mr. Worry on this matter. He's also a legal practitioner in Rivers State. Good morning and thank you for joining us on the program here today. So from what your colleague has said there about the position of the law, it does appear as though those members who are saying that their tenure was elongated are standing on nothing, because he says that's been struck out and so they cannot cite that as any reason whatsoever to want to stay back in the office, which some say is the root of this challenge. Can you hear me? You may need to unmute. Okay, we can't seem to get him on the line. So as things stand now, so that if I could come back to you, Mr. Eli. So with the way the issues are playing out in Rivers State, from your perspective, the only thing the police can do now is, after this local government caretaker committee chairman are sworn in, they cannot and should not prevent them from getting back to office. Would that be in line with your point?
Yeah, Chamberlain, the police can only act on orders of courts. At the moment, there's no order of court restraining the councils from being inaugurated by the governor as caretaker committees. So the police will have no order to obey in terms of restraining them from gaining access to the councils. I'm very sure probably the reason why the police went there, the reason the police went to the council to forestall the breakdown of law and order, given the attempt by the outgoing chairman to resist their departure. Chamberlain, it's an experience I went through in 2015. Yesowike came to office as governor, and where another of the Federal High Court vacated my colleagues from the councils. The police simply came there to enforce peace and orderliness. And we didn't wait for the appeal process to go through. They didn't wait for also. We have been back and forth to the Supreme Court twice and back at Appeal Court. They have continued the business of local government. It didn't stop them from going on. Even conducted 2 local government elections behind us in 2018 and 2021. Why this is completely strange is confounding. And I think that is not necessary. The police will enforce orders of courts. Other than that, their primary duty is to maintain law and order. I think that's what they're doing by occupying the council so that hoodlums and miscreants will not take advantage of the station and cause a disruption of public peace.
In terms of maintaining law and order, what would you say to those who think that some of the words used by the governor appears to be fueling or emboldening some of those who are all over the streets there, fomenting one trouble or the other, using the words like the enemy, if you have to arrest anybody, you have to come through me. They may misunderstand those narratives as though he's, backing them, giving them the oomph to go in there and stand on whatever they want to do.
I beg to disagree with you, Chamberlain. If you have followed the narrative in the United States, those who probably blame the governor for calling somebody my enemy also can recall that he called somebody and the difference between him and the former governor, father and son. If you watch, the proclamations about conflict and then the people trying to seek enforcement of their rights arose from the comments made by former local government chairman like Amaehwule, my friend. A lot of them, Thomas Barreri, Kano local government, Wanosike is from Ikwere, Chidi Lloyd is from Amaehwule, and one of that one, a couple of them, a few of them were gentlemanly, said, look, they saw the path of peace. Your turn is over, your turn is over. Somebody was there before you, somebody will come after you. All of these attempts to stand on nothing, to foment crisis, is why I see citizens across the state to start their numbers. Is because some of them threaten they will not leave. If someone video where one is shouting, if they burn you well, if they burn you well, if they burn you well, come on to the council, take it about June 17. These are the rhetorics that make people react.
But Mr. Eli, with those ones you said, are they comparable to what the governor has said? And besides, are we comparing those other offices to the office of the governor?
Well, Chibala should also probably ask you, when Nyesom at the reception at his departure, warned those who undermine the governor who thinks he's a small boy to be careful. What do you think he was saying?
No. I'm asking you about what is happening now. The current rhetoric from the governor who the state look up to. That's the issue.
I'm not a spokesman. And
I'm not saying you are. I know you're not. I didn't introduce you as such. I know you're a lawyer. And that's what I'm asking you, your perspective. As a learned gentleman, what you think of it?
Well, Chamberlain, my answer will be this. Maybe it may not fit the bill of what you want to hear.
No. I don't want to hear anything. I just want to hear your opinion, whatever it is.
No, I cannot prejudge him. I'm just trying to put myself in the shoe of a neutral man. As if without considering that I was in his shoes, probably I could say something worse. Something worse. Because if you're in River State, I don't know, okay, you're corresponding Charles of Rome, get your ears on the street in River State and imagine what's going on here. I'm not a member of his party. But I know that this man has been the most undermined governor of in recent years in Nigerian history. Things have happened. I see a man who was quiet suddenly.
So for you, the end justifies the means?
No, not really. I'm not saying so. I can't say so as a lawyer. I can't say so. But I'm saying that
you say you say worse.
The national consequence of his actions.
You say you probably say worse. So,
I said if I was shoes, probably I would do worse. I don't want to act like
what's the difference between the end justifying the means?
The difference is that if you're here in this state, everything has been done since that impeachment plot failed. Okay. I've been done to undermine authority and president of the governor. I know.
All right, let me bring in your colleague. Pardon me. Let's bring him in. He's not said anything all the while. Mr. Worry, let's hope we can get across to you. So you heard your colleague speak about those members of local government who he says, look, they're the ones standing on nothing and trying to foment trouble in the state, citing on non-existent law. What do you think of that? Can you unmute this time?
My brother, are you hearing me?
Go ahead.
So, I don't know why my brother is like.
All right, your connection is not Your connection is not clear. So let's go to my colleague Ayo.
But let me come back to you, Mr. Eli. There's a question Chamberlain was trying to ask you the other time, particularly from the governor, but feelers coming from the street. What are you hearing? How are the people reacting to the issues from what you know about that's happening in Rivers State right now, Mr. Eli? What is happening? How are the people receiving it? Is there any unrest on the streets from what you know?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Eli.
Ayo, Rivers people are not indifferent to their environment. Rivers people are politically very alive and active. And they side on the side of the truth and justice. These fellows who are giving power now were local government chairmen were elected by the people for a definite term of 3 years that began in June 2021 and ended in June 2024. The attempt to elongate their tenure arose out of a crisis or a presumption that the governor refused to conduct local government elections within time as allowed by law. You recall that in 2015, local government chairmen were removed from office.
If you can hear me, Mr. Eli, the question that I'm asking is really about how the people are seeing the issues.
We held the first elections, and then the second one in 2021. I'm not in frame of mind to imagine that Rivers people suddenly.
Mr. Eli, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. Eli?
People suddenly.
Can you hear me?
Nobody can own a territory.
Can you hear me, Mr. Eli? Can you hear me right now?
When the law says your time is up.
I'm just trying to, get your feelers, what you think, how you think the people are receiving the story, because from what we gathered, our correspondent lets us know that people are going about their businesses, their lives and businesses like nothing is really changing anything. But if you do, from all you have said and from your understanding, having been a chairman of a local government in Rivers State, the thing that is going on right now, are they issues of politics, of governance, or of law?
It's a mix of all of them, Ayo, if you ask me. Politics is the one that is trying to force chaos in terms of power tussle. Our tenure is not over. Even when they know that their colleagues, out of 23 of them, 2 went to the High Court for judicial interpretation of their tenure when that law was amended to elongate their tenure. And they know that the court has struck it down. Not only striking it that was inconsistent with the Constitution, it was expunged from the laws of Rivers State. What they would have done was to go and appeal on that decision and wait for the appeal court to speak otherwise. I don't think so to self-help. But they decided to sit back in the councils, acting like one of them even said that Amaehwule is a law of Nigeria. I don't understand. So the people, when it comes to politics, that's on the side of politics. The side of the law is settled. The law is not one that speaks with equivocation. The law is that local government tenures ended midnight June 17, and the governor ordered or directed the head of local government councils to take over, pending further directives, at least it broke access day. In terms of governance, what that means that at the moment, the governance of the local government council is in the hands of the heads of local government administration. When the House of Assembly screens the governor's nominees for the Caretaker committee positions, and then the governor swears them in, they take over, the governance continues. So for politics, law, and governance, this is status quo. This is scenario.
Well, I don't know how you will also bring that, your opinions on these, what you just said last now, to the facts around the autonomy of the local government administrations in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos State, case in point right now. So, because if the local governments were autonomous, would we still have a situation where the governor is making that kind of pronouncement?
Well, Ayo, the truth of the matter is that I am also one of those who would have advocated, and I would love to advocate for local government autonomy. Unfortunately, we have a constitution that speaks otherwise. What do I mean by that? The constitution that recognizes 3 tiers of government, federal, states, and local government councils. But the constitution, again, in its wisdom, haven't recognized local government, subsumed them under the states. So the states make laws for the administration of local government councils. The states sit down in what they call the Joint Allocation Council Committee to allocate funds that come from federation to local government councils. Now, speaking about autonomy, you are aware that the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, learned senior advocate, have filed a suit against the 36 states at the Supreme Court. Arguments have been taken by the respective parties, and the Supreme Court are adjourned for ruling. When that happens, to know whether we can take a step forward. But you call also that before President Buhari left office, in an attempt to give local governments autonomy and the judiciary, he passed the Executive Order 10, which was struck down by the same Supreme Court. So here we are. So that's what the Supreme Court say. For me, I think the appropriate thing to do would have been to go through constitutional amendments to truly free the councils as a tier of government on its own. Probably convert the customary courts and the local level magistrate courts to the judicial arm of the local government councils, and then allow them to operate as a complete tier of government free on its own. Until that happens, until that amendment happens, I am afraid. I don't want to prejudge what the Supreme Court to say, but given recourse to what they did with the Executive Order 10 passed by or approved by President Muhammadu Buhari, I have my fears about what to become of local government autonomy when the Supreme Court finally speaks its mind.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, when you say that, governance has been handed to the heads, the instruction of the governor, heads of the organizations, the local government administrations in each of the local governments in Rivers State right now, then the question, should arise about the constitutionality or the legality of that action as well.
It is very legal. Maybe, let me say this. The heads of local government councils are civil servants and not politicians. They're like permanent secretaries in ministries. So if a political appointee, a commissioner leaves, he hands over to the permanent secretary or the most senior director in his ministry. That's what happens. So when the governor directs the heads of local government to take over, yesterday was a public holiday, recall that. So as the chairman was leaving, there couldn't have been a vacuum. So the governor directed those HLGs to take over in the interim until the Caretaker committees, once appointments come through. That's what happens. It's not happening the first time. It's not novel.
Let me see for a second or two if Mr. Wari, if we can speak to him right now. Mr. Wari, can you hear me?
Let me speak for a second or two if Mr. Wari.
Can you hear me, Mr. Wari?
Mr. Wari, can you hear me?
All right, let's get back to you, Mr. Eli. So, still talking about the legality or otherwise of it. There are one of the questions that one would want to ask is, why hand over to the heads of the local governments, the civil servants, as you call them, or as you say they are, if the process of selecting or electing the next set of local government administrations was there? That's the reason I'm asking about that legality, because ideally it should be a situation where they are handing over to another democratically elected set of local government chairmen. Don't you think so?
Okay, Ayo, maybe we should sound this way so we probably understood that very well. The idea of handing over local government council administration to heads of local government councils or heads of personnel management, as we are called at some point in time, is nothing new. As at the time the council tenures were ending at midnight, June 17th, you couldn't have left the councils rudderless. That's the wisdom that inspired directed the governor to direct the heads of local governments to take over.
Yes. Mr. Ila, if you can hear me, just a second.
Yes,
if you can hear me.
Yes.
The question that I'm asking is, we knew that their tenures would end on a particular day. So ideally, the elections should have held long before that time, so that we know that there are chairmen-elect waiting to take office before the tenure of the current administrations expire. That's the question I'm asking.
Ayo, the governor knows the tenure will end. There's nothing that is written in that law that says he cannot appoint a committee. It's in local government law. Why is unable to conduct elections? Why is unable to conduct elections? I do not know. I'm not the governor. But there are circumstances around the state, political tensions and all that may not allow him to direct RISEC to go ahead to hold elections.
Which also leads to that question, Mr. Eli, if you can hear me. Which also leads to that question. My apologies. Which also leads to that question. I mean, just as you said, the governor knew that their tenures would end. There is a reason that the state independent electoral commissions exist. So if there was a challenge with that one, I mean, I don't know whatever the challenges are, which is the reason you are talking about political governance and law challenges in the state. So governance shouldn't stop. Politics shouldn't stop. Law should always, the rule of law should always uphold itself in any situation, irrespective of what the situations are. That is the reason we have security agencies. So if there were political inhibitions, that would have made that difficult. I mean, the security operatives could have stepped in. So I don't know what you think of that one, because if the law says that local government should be there, then there is no reason for the elections to not hold.
Ayo, the Rivers State local government law provides for Caretaker committees where elections are unable to hold as and when due. So the government is not acting outside of the law. So when they say rule of law, I should be a defender of the rule of law as a lawyer first and foremost. If something is ultra vires of the law, I'll tell you it's ultra vires. At the moment, this is not. And there's not, it's not cast in stone. Local government councils are not unconstitutional per se. All right? They may not be prescribed by the constitution per se, but they're not illegitimate. There's stopgap until you're able to hold elections. And that's why they are over and again. If our states and other states, it's happening. Look across the federation. Local government councils, elections are held as and when, but again, the issue is what makes it in the council chairman, the local government, the agents for local government elections, the RISEC cannot hold elections. The agency is there, but the template for whole elections is set by them. When they call elections to hold. I'm not aware of any complaint from RISEC as to why they're unable to call elections. I'm not aware of complaints of funding or whatever. I'm not aware. So I cannot speak for them. The governor is not part of RISEC. The governor appoints the chairman of RISEC and the board members. So if we were to blame conduct for elections, I'm sure we're directing the questions at the wrong person. I've worked as an electoral officer at RISEC between 2004, March, and October 2007. I resigned to run for House of Assembly in Rivers State. We conducted 2 local elections, and I produced 2 council chairmen. So RISEC is one that should answer the question as to why elections did not hold as and when due. I am always speaking from that angle that maybe the political tensions and all that may be the reason why it could not hold. The environment may not be stable enough, maybe security reports. But RISEC is the agency more appropriate to answer the question as to why elections did not hold when tenures were ending. But so whether or not the intervention of the governor to appoint Caretaker committees is legal, yes, it is legal, because according to Rivers State law, Section 9.5 Rivers State Government Law 2018 provides for the appointment of Caretaker committees as a stopgap measure. It's there. It's again on that premise that the former governor, the immediate past governor, appointed social committees.
Mr. Eli, I do not know if you can hear me, but
I'm not sure the governor had the law.
Well, there are others who are wondering that, this caretaker committee was sent to the other faction, not the Amaehwule faction now, for screening and swearing in when the matters are still before a court of law. Would you say that the governor has decided which side is actually the legal side while that tussle is still, before their law justices?
Well, let me take the position of an extremist, if you like, as a lawyer. If I see that a high court judge and they bring a matter concerning the people you call the other faction or whatever, I would dismiss it for lack of jurisdiction. With the wave of the hand, I would do that. Why? The Supreme Court has spoken on this matter of Section 109, sub 1G. Okay? And I don't see how we keep going back and forth on this issue. Until that issue is examined, Section 102 provides for what you see going on with Okojumbo and others. The Assembly sits validly as it stands right now. I don't know why people think that E37, 27 people decide to take a walk for political reasons. The rest of the state must be held to ransom, and governors must not go ahead. I don't think so. Section 102 of the Constitution provides for the 3 of them to sit until any course elections. as a constituent, as a man who's constituent part of the state, my constituents are affected. I'm praying for a time when this issue will be resolved and next we call election quickly, and then we can have those seats filled.
All right. So,
I will go back and forth on this. Is beyond me.
So as you say, the matter maybe up until when it is resolved. So if the matter has not been resolved, it means that you cannot take a decisive decision until it is resolved. But we have to go at this point. That's all the time we have. Shugbe Eli is a lawyer and was chairman of Degema Local Government Council of Rivers State in 2015. So we do thank you for your perspective. So we couldn't get in, Mr. Worry. So, but tomorrow we'll bring the other side to you. But for now, Business Morning on Sunrise Daily comes up now.
Well, hello, welcome. It's the start of the trading week today, right here in Lagos, Nigeria. We see the stock market is open, the banks are open now. But let's get to the top stories that set your agenda. We see the oil market, oil prices have risen slightly in early trade today, but still down about 0.36%. In early trade, $85.03 a barrel. That's what we have for Brent crude. WTI, that's the U.S. grade, still above that $80 psychological level at this time, but down 0.48%. Both benchmarks were up by more than $1 in the previous session after Ukrainian drone strike led to an oil terminal fire at a major Russian port, and that's according to some Russian officials at this time. So we're seeing geopolitics driving sentiment right there in the market. To other stories now. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has extended the 2024 licensing bid round registration by 10 days. The Commission's Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Gbenga Komolafe, says that the extension aims to give interested investors more opportunities to participate. Mr. Komolafe emphasized the Commission's commitment to maximizing the value of Nigeria's oil and gas reserves and increasing production. He mentioned ongoing collaboration with multi-client companies to enhance exploratory activities and gather more data to attract investments into the upstream sector. The Commission has also added 17 deep offshore blocks to the 2024 licensing round based on new data. And the federal government has announced a $3.5 billion agreement with the Flexing Bank to boost the textile industry and promote the use of compressed natural gas within a year. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Doris Uzoka-Anite, made this known on her official X page, noting that the deal was signed at the 31st Flexing Bank annual meeting in the Saudi Bahamas. The agreement includes a $3 billion industrialization financing facility to accelerate Nigeria's industrialization, statewide investment projects for regional development, and a global country guarantee to boost investor confidence. We need that right now. It also aims to revamp the textile and apparel industry with a projected $3.3 billion in project capital expenditure, creating jobs and developing the CNG value chain for sustainable automotive and transport sectors. Mrs. Uzoka-Anite emphasizes that this landmark agreement aligns with the President Tinubu's vision for a diversified and prosperous economy. To security matters now, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is concerned over the rate of insecurity after the kidnap of Managing Director of Fuani Group, who's been rescued now. According to Director General of the association, Segun Ajayi-Kader, the incident has left the entire manufacturing community shocked and concerned about the safety of its chief executives and indeed its workforce. Mr. Ajayi-Kader commends the security agencies for the safe release of Mr. Fuani and asks for intensified efforts to tackle the rising cases of kidnapping and insecurity in the country, as it poses a significant threat to the business community and overall economic development of Nigeria. And definitely, we're all waiting for the open right now for most of the markets we track right here. Definitely was a positive week last week. That's for the stock market. And definitely, we're going to be watching how investors actually open this trading day after 2 days of holidays. It's a holiday shortened week, so we just have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for trades this week. But who knows if the bull is going to come out strong in this holiday shortened week, or we might see profit taking again. So we're going to discuss that definitely on the show to find out where the market is going to tend to. We're also going to drill down on the Naira, what to expect. Definitely, we know the close for Friday last week, still around that band of 1,500 to about late 1,400s at this time. That's for the official window. But we know that the parallel market, that was trading 24/7, and we did see a little weakness in that side. But let's get to our first conversation now. According to OPEC, Nigeria's oil production for May was at 1.25 million barrels per day, excluding condensates, compared to 1.28 million barrels per day in April. So we see a change of about 30,000 barrels per day there. That's the difference between April and May. But there are reports of also Saudi Arabia ending the long-standing petrodollar deal with the U.S., and that's sparking online discussions about the potential decline of the dollar as the world's reserve currency. And we'll see how this is going to impact the global oil market, going forward. Let's discuss this and other matters now with Mr. Madaki Omadachi Ame. He's a managing partner at BBH Consulting, also a former lawyer at Shell. Great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's begin with good morning, sir. It's great to have you. So let's begin with the potential termination of the petrodollar deal. What are some of the potential consequences, for Saudi Arabia and the U.S. if this deal, this petrodollar agreement, is to be officially terminated? We don't have an official statement yet about the termination, but it has not been renewed at this time.
Well, I think what's happening. I think what's happening is that the petrodollar deal is probably the biggest.
Elections are held as I went, but again, the issue is what makes it in the council chairman, the local government, the agents for local government elections, the RISEC cannot hold elections. The agency is there, but the template for all elections is set by them. When they call elections to hold, I'm not aware of any complaint from RISEC as to why they're unable to call elections. I'm not aware of complaints of funding or whatever. I'm not aware. So I cannot speak for them. The governor is not part of RISEC. The governor appoints the chairman of RISEC and the board members. So if we are to blame conduct for elections, I'm sure we're directing the questions at the wrong person. I've worked as an election officer at RISEC between 2004, March, and October 2007. I resigned to run for House of Assembly in River State. We conducted 2 local elections, and I produced 2 council chairmen. So RISEC is one that should answer the question as to why elections did not hold as and when due. I am always speaking from that angle. Maybe the political tensions and all that may be the reason why it could not hold. The environment may not be stable enough, maybe security reports. But RISEC is the agency more appropriate to answer the question as to why elections did not hold when tenures were ending. But so whether or not the intervention of the governor to appoint Caretaker committees is legal, yes, it is legal because according to River State law, Section 9.5 River State Government Law 2018 provides for the appointment of Caretaker committees as a stopgap measure. It's there. It's again on that premise that the former governor, the immediate past governor, appointed 6 Caretaker committees.
Mr. Eli, I do not know if you can hear me, but
I'm not sure the governor had law.
Well, there are others who are wondering that, this caretaker committee was sent to the other faction, not the Amaehwule faction now, for screening and swearing in when the matters are still before a court of law. Would you say that the governor has decided which side is actually the legal side while that tussle is still, in before their Lord Justices?
Well, let me take the position of an extremist, if you like, as a lawyer. If I see that a high court judge and they bring a matter concerning the people you call the other faction or whatever, I would dismiss it for lack of jurisdiction. With the wave of the hand, I would do that. Why? The Supreme Court has spoken on this matter of Section 109, sub 1G. Okay? And I don't see how we keep going back and forth on this issue. Until that issue is examined, Section 102 provides for what you see going on with Okojumbo and others. The Assembly sits validly as it stands right now. I don't know why people think that E37, 27 people decided to take a walk for political reasons. The rest of the state must be held to ransom, and governors must not go ahead. I don't think so. Section 102 of the Constitution provides for the three of them to sit until INEC calls elections. As a constituent, as a man who's constituent part of the state, my conscience is affected. I'm praying for a time when this issue will be resolved and INEC will call election quickly, and then we can have those seats filled.
All right. So,
I will go back and forth on this. Is beyond me.
So as you say, the matter may be up until when it is resolved. So if the matter has not been resolved, it means that you cannot take a decisive decision until it is resolved. But we have to go at this point. That's all the time we have. Shugbe Eli is a lawyer and was chairman of Degema and Local Government Council of Rivers State in 2015. So we do thank you for your perspective. So we couldn't get in, Mr. Worry. So, but tomorrow we'll bring the other side to you. But for now, Business Morning on Sunrise 80 comes up now.